Okay, so this is part 2 of chapter 5's video. I removed the plastic already. I'm gonna go ahead and wipe her eyebrows and get rid of the numbing. She's been numbing for about 30 minutes now. And we're gonna do a very light combination brow on her. As you can see, she has pretty full brow, so there's no need for us to go in there and add a lot of powder in there. Make sure we get everything off. Now we're gonna use our little lint-free wipey and wipe those off. Make sure that they're nice and dry. And now we're gonna map. So I have my string here. Go ahead and close your eyes for me. And I'm gonna hold it, wrap it once around my index, hold it with my thumb, wrap it once around my index, hold it with my thumb. I'm gonna use her nose and her Cupid's bow. Place the string where I think the middle of her nose is, and then her Cupid's bow, and then lay it flat on her forehead. That's my line. Now I have to bring this line all the way down, so I move my hand up, place it on that line that I created, and then bring my thumb down and pull. Okay, so I'm gonna reposition my hands, that way I can do that line again. So I'm gonna use this side, place the string in front of my index finger, and pull. There we go, that works a lot better. So now we're gonna find the nose piercing section. She actually had her nose pierced on this side, so I can even use that. So I'm gonna put my index finger right there with the string. Actually, I'm gonna use this side because I don't wanna get in the way of the video. So I'm gonna place the string in front of the index finger, place that index finger right there where that little crease is at, bring the string and do the marking. Now this line has to come down here. So we move our finger up, place the string on the line, and then pull. Beautiful line. So now we're gonna find her arch. If you guys take a look, you can see her arch right here. It's not as defined, but it is our job to make it more defined, but I see it right there. So I'm gonna put the string down and pull down. Now let's find her tail. Her tail, her natural tail is a little too short. I'm gonna make it just a tiny bit longer. So I'm gonna bring it out a little bit more, about right there. So it's not much, it's just, actually if you were to comb down her hairs, like they would touch that line that I just created. So it's not that much. And she has a really lifted eyebrow. As you can see, it's not very curved down. It's very flat and lifted. That's perfect. It's gonna look beautiful on her. So let's see. We're gonna duplicate this, bring it over. So we have our 0, A, B, and C. Now we have to bring our A, B, and C over to this side. So once again, mark the edges with your Sharpie pencil. And I do sharpen this in between every client because it has to be really, really sharp. Now I'm gonna place it down here from 0 to A. Measure, bring it over, just right there. Now measure A to B. Bring it over and drag. Now from B to C. Bring it over. Place it on the B. And drag. Beautiful. So now to make those lines more defined, I'm gonna use my string, place it on that marking, come down, place it on the marking, come down. Now I'm gonna do the front one. Beautiful, just like that. So 0, A, B, and C. Now let's find the thickness of her eyebrows. So you can, if you look at her eyebrows, you can see she has a natural thickness already. So we're just gonna use that. I believe this one's a little bit more higher. So we're gonna have to find a happy medium. So see how I'm using my fingers to support my hands on her head so that I'm not shaking. Support. Just like that. Beautiful line. So now let's find the top width of her eyebrow. I'm gonna say right there. Beautiful. So now let's find her arch. So her arch comes up here, but this one's much higher, and I can't go off of this one because this one's way higher than this one. So look what would happen if I were to go off of this arch. See how much higher that is? See all that empty space between the line that I'm trying to create and her hair? So I'm gonna find a happy medium place, and I'm gonna meet right in the middle. Right there. So she's not gonna have a really high arch just because of how her own bone structure is and her natural eyebrow. And then if we were to give her a higher arch, we would have to pluck a lot of her eyebrow, and we don't want to mess with that. She has really nice full brows, and we don't want to over pluck. So now that we finished with the first section, I'm gonna go ahead and lay her down and do the third step. All right guys, so she is laying down. I already put the knee bolster under her knees so that her hips don't start to hurt. And then I also put a blanket on her so she's nice and comfortable. Sometimes clients come in and they're super nervous, and by putting the blanket on them, it makes them feel a little bit more comfortable. So now step number 2 of the mapping, or step number 3 of this video, is to connect the dots. So remember, we're gonna connect A to B and B to C. But first we need to find how low is her tail going to be. So if we were to follow her natural hair growth, see how it's growing this way? Let's keep following it and see where it'll meet this line. So it would meet it right about there. So I'm gonna do my little marking right here. And then I'm gonna double check and make sure that this is not lower than this section right here. So using my calipers, I'm gonna put it straight across this line, bring the line straight across, and see, it's still higher. So that is good, that's what we want. Now let's replicate that and bring it over to the other eyebrow so that both tails drop to the same length. So measure right there. And when I'm measuring, I'm putting this section right here on this line right here, and then the bottom on the marking that I did. And then we're gonna come over here and we're gonna place this section right here, this little ledge right there, and then do our marking just like that, okay? So now we know we're gonna connect A, B, C, and then A, B, C. So let's grab our string and start connecting the dots. So we're gonna start here. Place it down. Oh, the string rolled a little bit. So if you see that it rolled, lift it back up. Place it and pull. Okay, so we got A to B, now B to C. Right there. Now let's do it on this side. Connected A to B and B to C. Now let's do the bottom portion. So we're going to start right here, and then we have to meet right here on this line, and it has to be the same width all across. So parallel lines. It can't be like this or like that or like that. It has to be parallel lines. And then from here, we're going to connect to there. And I just like to drag slowly, little by little. Just like that, okay? So now I'm gonna use my string and come over to the other side. And then connect from B to C. Just like that. So I'm gonna show you guys how to trace this eyebrow with the Sharpie pencil. So we're gonna pull, pull, and pull. So it's nice and stretched and tight. Place the pencil down and drag. And then I'm gonna tilt her face a little bit so you guys can see her arch. And then here we're gonna curve when we come to the B. And give her a nice smooth arch. And then finish right there. So now we're gonna do the bottom portion. So I like to pull up onto the solid surface, so it's not in here, this little ridge right here. So I like to pull up onto the forehead and stretch. And then I'm also stretching with this part of my hand. And I'm not pushing into her skin. I'm just pulling and stretching. You don't want to push onto their skin and make them feel uncomfortable, make them feel like you're trying to poke their eye out. Like that. And as you're moving onto the tail, you should be tilting their face more and more that way. Just like that. So that is the natural shape of her eyebrow. As you can see, I didn't change it. I'm just enhancing it. So I'm not going outside of her natural hair growth. I'm just following it and enhancing it and making it more perfect. So now I'm gonna do the same thing on this side with the Sharpie pencil, and then we'll move on to the microblading part. Okay, now that I did the outline with the Sharpie pencil, we're gonna look at her eyebrows and see how they're growing. That way we can figure out how we're gonna do that microblading. So if you guys see, this is her bulb section right here. They go straight up and down, and then here they start to slant. And then eventually, so they start right here, the slant starts right here. You see how they're going down already? So I'm gonna do my line right here, and then bring it down. Same thing on this side. I'm gonna start my line here because this is where they start to grow down. Do the line, and then come down. And make sure that I follow that, okay? So right here, I'm gonna do the microblading up, and then slowly start to curve down. And then here, they're gonna start coming all the way down, okay? So let's get ready.